started and then my mind got off track, but I'm a high school coach. I coached basketball for 16 years at Lakeview High School in Garland, Texas. That's just east of Dallas. I loved it, did it with a passion, felt like I helped some kids. Never made much money as a high school coach. I finally decided the Rockets, Mavericks, Spurs, none of those NBA teams were going to call me. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to do to make a buck in my life. A friend of mine showed me this deal. I didn't understand it all when I saw it. I just kept thinking, gee, that might work. I mean, that was my only real thought process. And I'd spent a couple of $100 on worse things in my life. So, you know, I thought, hey, I'm going to give this a shot. I think it might work. So I got in. I had a goal. I want to make $1,000 a month. That was my goal, $1,000 a month. I thought if I could do that, it'd help me pay some bills. So I start talking to people. I mean, that's really all we do in our business. You know, hey, I got something I want to run by you. Hey, I got something I want to talk to you about. Hey, run by after work. Hey, you know, got a few in, got a bunch of no's. I mean, everybody doesn't want to do it. They're not as bright as we are, but anyway, you know, I got a few yeses, and the thing started growing. And 6 months into this, I go to the mailbox back before they did direct deposit, and I pull an envelope out, rip it open, and there's a check with a comma in it. An old poor boy that had no dad, mom worked in a sewing factory, grew up in the ghetto, taught school for 16 years. I had $1,000 coming in residually. And you say, well, that ain't that much. Go ask your banker how much money you got to put in there to get $1,000 a month out and not touch your principal, guys. Residual money is where it's at, but I grew up poor and taught school. I have no qualifications to have made that. But I tell you what, I used to go to church with a man named Zig Ziglar, and Zig would always say, go as far as you can see, and when you get there, you're going to be able to see further. Well, when I got it to $1,000 a month, my old mind expanded a little bit. This old poor boy from Pleasant Grove decided he could do a little better than $1,000 a month. He set his sights on $3,000. Took a little while, but I got it to $3,000 a month. What happened to my mind then? It expanded again. I thought, hey, if I did 3, I can do 5. We got it to 5, and I can do 10. Guys, I'm telling you that with this business, it's not because I'm anything, it's because I worked at it, but I mean, I was willing to do what I'm going to tell y'all to do. This old boy's been blessed to make millions of dollars, guys. Now, obviously, I'm an exception, absolutely, but I think we can all be exceptions if we want to, because my only qualification is a burning desire in my butt to be somebody. I was tired of being a nobody my whole life. So I decided I was going to do something to change it. And when I decided I made that decision I was going to change my life, I didn't have a clue what I was going to do, because it was long before Stream came along that I made that decision. But here's what I want to ask you guys. Everybody look up here, because I think this is key, and you may say you're getting corny. No, I think I'm getting real, okay? I'm going to ask us all, think this through, don't answer out loud, but how many of us are living a life we never intended to live? For me, when I was coaching and couldn't pay my bills, and my wife and I are having fights over money, and I'm always telling the kids no, and I mean, it was an ugly deal. That was not the life this old boy ever intended to live. When I was in high school and college, I was going to conquer the world. How about you? I was going to live in the biggest house and drive the baddest car and be just the man. And then somehow the world started beating on me, and all of a sudden all my dreams of the things I was going to accomplish just started falling off to the side, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there with no dreams left. I'm sitting there just going through life. I'm sitting there just living for Friday. Guys, if we're living for Friday, that means 5 out of the 7 days suck for us, basically, huh? But life is so short anyway. If we're really living for just 2 days a week, that's a pretty ugly deal, huh? You know, if you'll really get your butt in gear on this thing, yeah, you can drive cars, you can go on trips, you can do all that stuff, you can make money. But you know, when you start making the money, you know, really what that boils down to is it tells us that we can have some freedom. And then you can start doing some of the things that you decided you wanted to do 10, 20, 30 years ago, guys. We got to understand we need to get back in the dream business again. We need to get our dreams out of mothballs and start realizing we can accomplish anything that we set our mind to if we want to bad enough. We've got the vehicle. My gosh, they've been around 13 years and done $8 billion. I mean, we just rolled out our whatever state, Ohio. I don't even know what number that is anymore. We've been popping them out like crazy. How many do we have, Jerry? You know? 9. Our 9th state. So, you know, guys, this thing is happening. Do you want to get your piece of it and change your life and start living a life? And let me tell you something. Get this point here, because this is key. Do you realize this isn't a dress rehearsal? Do you realize we don't get do-overs? And I'll say this, I don't care if you're 8 or 80, it really makes me no difference. We all can start wherever we are in our life and make a better ending, and that should be all of our goals. None of us can go back to the beginning and make a new beginning, but we can all start now and make a better ending for our life. That's my goal. If I could go back to the beginning, I'd have a dad in my life. I hated not having a dad. Mama taking me to Boy Scouts and stuff. I wanted a dad to do it. It is what it is. You know what? I couldn't change that, but I could become the best dad I could possibly be. And that's what my goal in life was. I didn't just go to the games and the concerts. I went to the rehearsals and the practices. I mean, I got to everything that I could possibly get to. We can all do different things. See, if life doesn't treat you right, we got two choices. We can either get bitter or we can get better. And I tell you what, this old boy decided that he was going to be better, because again, I had that burning desire in my butt to be somebody. I challenge you to do it. But let's get our dreams out of mothballs. Tonight, before you go to bed, write down your dreams. If you have a chance, cut a picture of the house you want to live in, or the car you want to drive, or helping your kids, or giving to your church, or whatever it is. Cut some pictures out that would remind you of that and put on a board. Let's get a dream board going, guys. I'm telling you, I'm not just up here giving you lip service. If you look on my phone, on my memos, and I've been blessed to make about $30 million, but you know what? My goals are still there. I still get up every day trying to meet a bunch of goals. I don't always do it. If I don't get it this year, I'll get them next year. But there was times where I don't hit my goal when I wanted to hit it. It is what it is. You know what I do? I'll back off, pick me another date, and start working towards it again. I don't give up because I missed my date. So we need to start doing that. What does it say up there? Top line. 2018 goals. There's my goals. I got 18 goals in 2018. 18 goals for 2018. I feel like I'm competing with the best. I'm just telling them about it. When we finish here, we go, listen, that's pretty good. Dueling voices here or something. I think I'll win that battle, though.
This is way better.
But I have my goals. I know what I'm trying to accomplish every day. I have goals for finance. I have goals for relationships, for personal growth, and for health. I got goals in all of those areas. Guys, come on. I mean, if we don't know where we're going, how are we going to ever get there? I mean, if we're just hoping that it all turns out all right, that's not a very good strategy for life, is hoping. Now, we all need hope, absolutely, but we got to have a plan, too. And I'm telling you right now, write your dreams down and then start listing out some goals that you need to accomplish to help you reach your dreams. Because goals are the stepping stones to dreams, ladies and gentlemen. So let's start dreaming again. All right, number 2. If we want to change our life, and if we're not living the life we intended to live, and we want to change that right now, tonight, then I'm telling you what we need to do. So 1 is start dreaming again. We got to get excited about life, guys. We don't want to miss out on this deal. So get excited about life. Number 2, if you want more, you got to become more. So we need to start growing a little bit as a person. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. All of us do. When I was in school, I was on the Just Get Me Out of Here program. I know that's not you, son. I know you're studying like a gangbusters, but for me, it was just get me out of this place. Now, I look back now, and I go, gee, I wasted some good years. I could have known a whole lot more than I know if I'd have put a little more effort into that instead of being on the Just Get Me Out of Here program. You know what my attitude is today, ladies and gentlemen? I'm a lifelong learner. I want to know. I want to grow. I want to get better every day. I work on that daily. And I'm telling you, you can do it too. I'm not going to go into all the details because a lot of you guys have heard it, but we all need to read a little bit. Just read 10 pages a day. If you read 10 pages a day, that's about 15, 20 books in a year. 10 pages in a day. Number 2 is you're driving around, put a book on CD in that in that CD player instead of listening to junk. Instead of listening to the music or the negative news, which is crazy these days, let's put some books on CD or audio programs in there and let's listen to something like that. 3, at night, instead of watching the time-wasting electronic income reducer, what do you think that is?
Television.
TV. He's smarter than he looks. You know, I'm kidding with you. I hope you know that. Instead of watching that TV at night, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we do something like reading a little bit? Why don't we get our computer out and look at some personal growth giants like Zig Ziglar, Stephen Covey, Joyce Myers, Les Brown. I mean, I could just go down the list of some amazing people. Let's watch 20, 30 minutes of that before we go to bed. Get our mind thinking right. And you know, some of you guys are looking up here going, oh, that guy's a nut. You know what? My wife would probably agree with you that I am. But because I was willing to do the stuff I'm telling you to do, I'm a rich nut. All right, we need to get our dreams back, and then we need to grow by reading and watching and listening. And my fourth point that I didn't even tell you is, who do you run with?
Winners.
We run with winners. Because if you run with skunks, you're going to smell like them. If you run with dogs, you're going to get fleas all over you. I'm telling you right now, who you run with is going to be a bigger determining factor in what you do in life than just about anything else. Because if you're running around with a bunch of negative, dull, disillusioned, frustrated crybabies, if you're running around with those people that are always blaming something else or somebody else or their great-great-great-grandpappy, if they're blaming other people, then that's the wrong crowd. Because, yeah, we all have hurdles to get over. Man, I had some pretty good sized ones. A lot of my friends didn't have the hurdles I had to get over. I don't know why. And we won't know, will we, Pastor, until we can get up to heaven and ask the good Lord himself, why did I have those hurdles? But it is what it is. So, again, we can either get bitter or we can get better. I say we get better. So that's why I'm saying we need to start growing, and you need to get those negative people out of your life, because you're going to figure out, if you're running with negative people, it's impossible for you to be positive. I got a theory on negative people. You want to hear?
Yeah.
If you're negative, my legs still work, I'm out of here. I mean, that's just how I approach negative people. I'm not going to just hang around a bunch of negative people. I challenge you to do the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. Start running with people that are going the same direction you want to go. Now, they may not be a total success yet, but they're at least on the road to success. You know what I'm talking about? And everybody in here, you know winners and you know losers. Get the stinking losers out of your life, ladies and gentlemen, and start running with the winners, and watch what happens to your attitude about life and what you can or can't accomplish. I promise you, it makes a difference. So we're going to get our dreams back. Then we're going to grow as a person by, do we remember them? We're going to read. Then we're going to, instead of watching that time-wasting electronic income reducer, we know what we're going to do. And then as we're driving around, instead of listening to the negative news, we're going to put a book on CD in there. And then number 4, we're going to run with the winners. We're going to get the losers out of our life, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. So we're going to dream, then we're going to grow. My last point is we got to work. We got to work. One of my indictments on our great nation, and guys, it is the greatest nation on earth in spite of all our faults, is that we got about half our population sitting around with their hand out wanting something for nothing. Now, there are people in our country that need something for nothing, absolutely. They're sick, they're whatever. They need it. But I tell you what, we got to understand, us in this room that have our health, we got to get this. I watched my mama work 40 years, and yes, she got a government check, about $910 or something, Social Security, and that's what she's supposed to live on. And I'm telling you right now, it ain't the golden years, it's the golden arches. You just going to McDonald's all the time. You ain't going to be living your dreams. My point being, ladies and gentlemen, let's decide what we want. If we'll follow this compensation plan, and it tells you exactly what it takes, and do you realize that compensation plan doesn't know if you're old or young?
Right.
It doesn't know if you black, brown, green, or white. It doesn't know if you educated or uneducated. It doesn't know if you got hair or don't have hair. I mean, that compensation plan doesn't know any of that stuff. It just spits the checks out when you do the work. But we got to get in there and we got to start showing the plan. I'm telling you right now that, you know, I'm going to tell you a little bit more because I think there are some good things. But right now, Jerry, if I could give you one piece of advice, if you want to make a whole lot of money, and we got a chance to, can't guarantee that, but we got a chance, you got to get out and start showing the plan. If you're not getting the presentation in front of people, you're not doing this thing. You're not doing the business. You know, we can think about it, and we can make lists, and we can put it on the computer, and we can color it, and we can do all that, but if we're not out there showing people, that other stuff makes no difference whatsoever. Now, you say, well, I'm not very good at this. I don't think I could. That's fine. They got a video. They got a little Steve Fisher video. How long is it? Like 8 minutes or something? 7, 8 minutes? Play a little video. Then you call one of these rascals that I pointed out and say, hey, I just showed Billy Bob a presentation. Would you say a word to him? Y'all call me. I'll help you. But show the presentation and do a little third-party credibility. But if you're not out showing the plan, this thing will not work for you. Okay? I'm telling you right now, it won't work if you don't get it in front of people. And I hear people going all the time, well, I work a lot. Okay, I promise you, as a high school coach, I put in about 60, 70 hours a week. I know what you're talking about. But here's my thought. If I feel like going and doing my job, in other words, making my living, I can work full-time at that. I can work part-time on my fortune. Because I don't know about you, but my living was not ever going to make me anything more than just enough to scratch by. I didn't want to just scratch by. So think that through. We all keep our JOB, which stands for just over broke for most of us. We keep our JOB, and then that's our full-time gig. But then we work part-time on our fortune. That's all I did. I just worked part-time. But understand this. I wasn't playing in 6 basketball leagues, 3 softball leagues, the bowling league, the knitting club. I mean, for 2 or 3 years there, I gave up some stuff. But then, if you'll do that, you get this thing rolling, then you can spend the rest of your life doing exactly what you want to do. And I promise you, 3 years are going to go by real quick anyway. Yep. And all those basketball leagues I used to play in never paid me a penny. Huh? Unless you're fortunate enough to get up to go play with LeBron and those guys, it ain't going to make any difference. You ain't going to make any money at that stuff, so why not do something that makes some money and then have the rest of your life to do what you want to do? All right, let's get into some particulars real quick here. We know we got to show the plan, correct? That is the whole key. Show it, show it, show it, show it. I'll tell you right now, if you're really wanting to make significant money, you need to be showing the plan at least 5 times a week. If you're wanting to make some serious money. Now, if you just show up once every now and then, you can make a buck or two. I mean, you can make a few hundred, maybe 1,000 or two. But if you're wanting to make serious lifestyle kind of money, you need to be showing it. Now, not just for you, but for you and your downline. For you and your team. Would you give me some water when you guys? I could spit if I had to, right? It's like, but you need to be showing it. And here's what I challenge you to do. Either on your phone or on a calendar, just a little cheap calendar that you can open up by the week. Every time you show a plan, put a red X on that plan. Thank you. Just put a red X. And then like on Sunday night, or Saturday night, or whatever day you pick, 7 days later, look and see, how many red X's do I have where I showed a presentation? And if you've got 5 on there, you can pat yourself on the back because you did something good. Now, out of those 5, you may get all 5 of them in, or you may not get any of the 5 in. I mean, that's the one thing we don't know. But here's what I will tell you. If you keep consistently showing 5 people a week, you're going to get some people in the business. Do I look real thirsty? you keep showing 5 people a week, you're going to get some people in this business. And then out of the ones you get in, you can find some good ones. And all of a sudden, that's when your life starts changing. But what happens, most people will go out there and talk to 2 or 3 people and get 3 no's, and then what do? Oh, this just doesn't work. Well, how many did you talk to? Well, 3. Really? Not a very good sampling, is it? I always tell people, you got to be talking to 10, 20 people if you really want to get a sampling out there, because I promise you, you talk to 10 people, you're going to get 2 or 3 of them in the business. I mean, it is what it is. Hey, girl. Make a list if you haven't done that. Do we all have a list of the people that we need to talk to? And then I challenge you to talk to everybody on that list about being a business partner. And if they don't want to be a business partner, get them as your customer. Follow me? Take no for business partner, make it yes for customer. Okay? Now that doesn't work with strangers if you're just trying to get a customer. But when you're trying to build this business, you want to get business partners in. I mean, Robert's not on my team. I take him. I tried to trade somebody for Steve, but Steve wouldn't trade him away. But, you know, Scribner's on my team, Kobe's on my team, Randall Blackman's on my team. You know, those guys have, probably those 3 together have probably made me $2 million. Now, I don't say that bragging. I'm just saying, understand, if I'd have got them as customers, now I didn't personally sponsor them, but if I had got them as customers, I'd be making about $3 a month. I mean, you see what I'm talking about? I mean, so I take my chances on wanting to get a good business partner in. If they say no to me, then I'll switch it around and get them as my customer. All right, we rolling on that one? That's what we do. But we make a list. And guys, don't put 10 people, put 100 people. Get 100 people on your list, because if you'll go through 100 people, your business is going to be going. If you go through 4 or 5 people, chances are, unless you're lucky, your business is not gonna be going. So put 100 people down, and don't say you don't know 100 people. Go back, who'd you go to elementary school with, middle school with, high school with, college with, work with, church with, played with, kids activities with, anything you can think of, you know some people, guys. And the thing I'll tell you, you don't know who's gonna do this and who's not. The ones I thought would, wouldn't. The ones I thought wouldn't, would. I mean, I figured out real quick, you know, I can't look at anybody. Nobody in here, even these top money earners, look at those 3 right there. Nobody would look at those and go, man, those guys are gonna be top money earners. I didn't expect them to laugh that hard. I mean, I really did. And we have fun in this business, as you can tell too. But I mean, I couldn't look at those guys and tell if they're going to do this or not. But they're top money earners, make billions. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know anybody in here. There's a lot of other successful people in here. I can't look at anybody. And the ones that didn't do it, I usually thought would. You know, I was born, this is going to be a studette. Shoo, she's going to kill this thing, and she doesn't even switch her own service. You know, and you're going, wait a minute, what happened? You know, I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, you just learn. That's a dud. Next. But put everybody you've ever known on that list, and then make a simple phone call, or as Eric Worre taught us, you just text a few people. Hey, can we have lunch next week? What day? You know, got something I want to talk to you about. Hey, can we have coffee next week? Oh, you know, there's a bunch of people in our life we can just do that too, right? And a lot of people now text, especially the younger ones. I call my kids. Nobody answers. I text them, they pop right back. You know, you gotta have your phone in your hand if you're doing that. You know, but, so text is good, or call if you like me. I'm one of those old guys that I just pick up the phone, call. My fingers don't work fast enough to text, so I just call and go, hey, I got something I want to run by you. Can we have a cup of coffee? Hey, I got something I want to talk to you about. Can we have lunch this week? Does Tuesday or Wednesday work better? Hey, do you get my point? And if they start asking questions, guys, and some people will, what do you want to talk to me about? You know, hey, listen, it's a way we can make a bunch of money. Well, tell me about it. I just always say the same thing every time. Hey, it's a visual deal. I got to show you the numbers. Because there's 2 things you can't do on the phone. You can't give somebody a haircut, nor can you go over our compensation plan. I mean, you first timers, even second or third time, you look at that. It's hard to understand when you're looking at it. Can you imagine me going, yeah, on the first level, you get 25 cents and 50 cents and 75 cents and $1 and $2, and then we can't do that. But I guarantee you, a few of us in this room have tried, haven't we? Get somebody on the phone and we just regurgitate all over them, trying to tell them everything we know. When you're on that phone, you want one thing, and that's an appointment. Now, it can either be an appointment face-to-face, which is best by far, so, and there's a few million people around Houston, we should be able to get in front of a few people. But if it's somebody off in Ohio, say, since we rolled that state out, then shoot them a text, call them, go, hey, you got 10 minutes now? Great, okay, I'm going to send you a link. Send them a Steve Fisher video. So I'll call you in 10 minutes. Can you watch it now? You can? Great, okay, call you in 10. Then while you're doing that, you get one of these guys, or me, or an upline person, or if you feel confident doing it, do it. But then just call them back and go, hey, man, what'd you like most about that? And then just roll from there. I mean, just say something, you know, and at some point in time, say, great, let's get you going. Make them say they don't want to do it. I've seen some of the best presentations in the world, and then they never ask the person if they want to get in. You got to ask for the sale at some point in time. And if they don't want to do it, they'll tell you no, but don't be scared to ask. You follow me? I don't know, some people act like it scares them to ask. I guess maybe we might get no. If that happens, what are we going to do? Try to get them as a customer, and then move on. Get thick skin and quit worrying about that stuff. But we're going to make those calls, set those appointments, and then show the plan. 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 Guys, we've got to be showing the plan. If you'll do those things, make your list, set some appointments, and show the plan, good things are going to happen. And then we need to be at our meetings, and obviously I'm preaching to the choir because we got a standing room only crowd, but we need to be at the meetings whether Presley's here or not. You follow me? I mean, we got to plug in. I'm telling you right now, I don't know of any single person, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know of any single person that makes significant money in this company that doesn't show up. You just got to show up. You know, you can have a big bonfire going. I'm in a big one. And if you'll pull a log that's, I mean, it is blazing like crazy, but you pull that log out and sit over there by itself, what does it do? It goes out. And that's the way we are. We need to be around people pulling the rope the same way because there's enough negativity out there in the world for all of us, huh? We got to get around some positive people that'll build us, everybody else up. That's one thing I'm telling you right now, we all build each other up, because we can do great and mighty things if we want to.
Right.
Jerry, come here real quick. Now, I told you that if you're showing a presentation and they don't want to be a business partner, get them as a customer. Hey, that's great, help me out, try one of our services, I need to get a handful of customers anyway, mom, brother, sister, cousin. You know, those first people should be people that know you and love you, so hopefully that works. But if you're out and about, Jerry had a way that just blew me away. If you're out and about and you're just trying, you need 3 more customers to be an MD, or you're trying to qualify for the Customer Plus or something like that, I want him to tell you real quick what he does, and y'all might have heard this, but I think it's amazing. Go ahead.
Angela, do you get electricity bill?
Yeah.
Would it be okay if it was lower?
Yeah.
Great, let's fix that now.
Y'all get all that? It's pretty out there.
What's your name, brother? Domingo. Oh, Domingo. Nice to meet you, brother. He just joined our team.
Yo.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Calm down here.
So, you get electricity? You get electricity bill? Every month. Would it be okay if it was low? Of course. Great, let's fix that now. Let's do it.
Get somebody on this side of the room.
Okay.
I want y'all to get 3 times. just so you
Even
know.
it out.
Laura, do you get electricity bill?
I did.
Would it be okay if it was lower? Great, let's fix that now. So I was at Panera Bread, and there's a lady that works behind the counter, and I've known her now for some time, and I just said, hey, you get electricity bill? She goes, yeah. Would it be okay if it was lower? She goes, yeah, it would, but I have a sister. You think you could help her too?
And the key there is, it looks like you'll get 2, or maybe already got them, but if he'd have kept his mouth shut and not said anything, how many would he get?
Zero.
0. I mean, do you see kind of the key here? Thanks, Jerry, I appreciate that. And I'm just kind of sentimental here for just a second, but Robert gave me this, he said he carried this. I'm not sure why he gave it to me. I mean, I take it with an honor, but, what is this now?
It's just the badge that I wore for 21 years.
I mean, it honors me that he would think highly enough of me to give me that. I love you, brother. All right, let's think real quick. We're gonna wind down. I don't have a clue what time it is. Oh, we got a little bit of time. Give me 5 more minutes. Can y'all hang in there for 5 more? And then I'll even do a question or 2 if you want to talk about team building. I'm not the customer guy, but we want to get our dreams back. So tonight, let's get to thinking about what we want to accomplish in our life. Fair enough, guys? Yes. Let's start thinking that way. I mean, if not, our life's just going to pass us by. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I'm getting older at a faster pace somehow. I don't know how that's working, but I mean, it gets by us in a hurry. Let's change it now. Let's start living the life we want to live. And yeah, it may take us 2 or 3 years, absolutely. But do you realize those 2 or 3 years are going to pass anyway? It ain't like if we don't do it, nothing's going to happen. No, they're going to fly by anyway. Why not fly by? And, you know, a guy said this the other day, and I thought this was so great. He said, make decisions now that your future self will like. Y'all get that?
Mm-hmm.
Make decisions now that your future self will like. Man, when I heard that, I'm going, man, that's it. Because we, you know, at least me, I've been making decisions that my future self didn't really care for up until Stream came along, and then at least financially, everything started changing. But I started making a few decisions. And understand, did I want to go out and talk to all those people? Probably not. Did I want to get told no 4,652 million times? No, not really. I mean, I didn't really want to get told no. Did I want to drive across Dallas and get stood up? No, I really didn't want to do that either. One guy, actually, I drove back across the next day because he begged me to come back, and guess what he did to me the second day? He stood me up. That was not a pleasant phone call when I talked to him the next time. I drove about an hour to get over there. Did I want to do all that? No, I didn't want to do all that. But you know what? I didn't want to live in poverty, struggling to get by, fighting for every penny my whole life. I decided there was more to life than just making a living. I decided not to just make a living, I wanted to make a life. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do that. We've got the chance. I'll say it again. You keep the JOB, but then you start working on your fortune on the side over here. But you've got to be consistent working for the fortune. My gosh, if you'll go work for the man, work for yourself, right? If you feel like going to that JOB, then you better feel like making yourself your fortune. We gotta understand, that's how we gotta approach this. This is not a job, it's your business. You gotta take pride in your business to get it off the ground and get it going, because you should by now realize that you can drive new cars, go on trips, make lots of money. Again, I can't promise everybody in here, I promise you that 80-20 rule is gonna apply. 80% of you ain't gonna do much. 20% of you will go kill it. That's the way it works all the time. I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean, it is what it is. Could we all do it? Absolutely. We could all do this thing, but we won't all do it because we won't do those little simple steps because, I don't want to pick up the phone and call, or, oh, what if I text and they're busy, or, oh, I don't want to show that video, oh, what if my computer doesn't work, I mean, we can always find an excuse, can't we? So we gotta understand that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, ma'am?
The 80% is back on the couch.
Well, let me say this on that. I agree with that, but here's what I'm talking about. Most of us in this room are in this business. It's like 157 degrees in here. I'm gonna cut it shorter just because I'm about to pass out. But anyway, what was I talking about other than 157 degrees?
80% on the couch.
We're the 20%ers of that big group. We're in, most of us. And I think the others look smart enough they're gonna get in too. But we're in. But do you realize then the ones that are in, there's an 80-20 group here too?
That's right.
80% is gonna do a little bit, make a few dollars, have a little fun, but that's it. 20% are gonna get their butt out there and change their life and their family's lives. That's just the way this is. Since it is so hot, I'll do my ending story, and here's what I'll do. Anybody that has questions, y'all can hang around a little bit, can't you? We'll hang around up here, and if you wanna come up and ask questions, we'll do it that way. That way we can get out of this oven. But I'll just go into kind of my close here, if you will. I want to tell everybody in here that I did this business for my family. You know, it was my family that pushed me. When I was a single coach, I loved just getting out there playing basketball when the season was over. I didn't care if I had early attic furniture, and it didn't take a whole lot of money for me to get by. But then when you get married and kids start popping in and all that stuff, life changed for me. And it was just a different deal for me. So I had to make some decisions because Jeannie and I were fighting all the time over money. I was a coach, she was working as a paralegal. We saw each other very little. Marital problems, I could just go on and on and on and on about all that. Now my wife does not work, she is a professional shopper. Professional shopper, yeah, MasterCard inducted her into the MasterCard Hall of Fame. It was a great honor for her. You know, I kid, but since she can buy stuff online now, I mean, she never stops. I mean, it's stops all over but you come home and by the door there's this big stack of money. I mean, you know, I got off track. Don't do that to me again. But I did it for Jeannie. She doesn't work anymore, obviously. Sarah Beth, my daughter, she was wanting to go to Baylor. Baylor is about 35 grand. I barely made 35 grand. I'm going, nah, can't do that. What am I gonna do? Tell her no, she can't go, or tell her, hey, go baby, and I'll, you know, if I can, I'll help you with that $150,000 in student loans you'll have when you get out. I didn't like any of those options, guys, because of this business, and you'll appreciate this one. Because of this business, Sarah Beth got to go to Baylor. I paid that first year for her because of string, but she got in when she was 18 years old, and she paid her second, third, and fourth year at Baylor herself because of her string business. So I do that. She's not here anyway. But anyway, I say that if you're a younger person in this room and you're sitting there thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Yeah, you can do it. Again, you may have some different hurdles, absolutely, but you can do the business, and Sarah Beth's living proof of that. But I did it for Sarah Beth. Now, you know, here's the deal on all this too. I believe that every decision you and I make has ripple effects. I believe it has ripple effects. I believe because I started chasing my dreams with this company, it kind of put a little bug in my kids' minds, because Sarah Beth, when she graduated from Baylor, she went to Nashville and she's a rising country music star. That was her dream. And I'm telling you, every decision we make, and by the way, her stream money that comes in allows her to have the freedom to chase her dreams. You see how it all starts tying together there? Jordan, my son, I only got 2 kids, so this doesn't keep going. Jordan was a good baseball player. He was at Garland High School his freshman year. That's a good football school, terrible baseball school though, and Jordan's sport was baseball. Went to the first game, he's sitting out there, it looks like a cow pasture with bags out there, you know? I mean, nobody's in the stands, there's no support, I mean, it was just an ugly deal, and I'm thinking, geez, it doesn't matter, and Jordan was good, he was a freshman on the varsity, batting 3-hole, playing shortstop, if you know anything about baseball, I mean, he could play. And I'm thinking, it doesn't matter, nobody's gonna see him, there ain't nobody here. I mean, Jeannie and I were the only ones in the stands, I'm going, this is ugly, you know? We went to church at Prestonwood, and they had a school there, and man, they were proud of all their athletic programs, had a beautiful baseball field, Powell Academics, and I thought, man, this is where I should put Jordan up. Went and checked, 13 grand, no, I can't do that, that ain't happening, I mean, there was no money for that. He played his first year there at Garland High School, did well, but because of this business, his second, third, and fourth year, he got to go in high school to Prestonwood, where he got to be an Aflac All-American, National Player of the Year, went to Arizona State where he was an All-American, and then got drafted in the second round by the St. Louis Cardinals, and he started chasing his dreams, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, there's ripple effects that the decisions that we make. See, I'm gonna ask you this, are you leading your family, are you leading them, showing them that there's ways out, that we can change, or are you leading them and showing them excuse after excuse after excuse like I did for a lot of my life? See, I'm asking you guys right now, let's quit making the excuses. Let's just quit making the excuses, guys. Let's decide that we're gonna do something. See, right now, everybody look up here, I'm on the home stretch, okay, I'm rounding third. We've got a chance to change our lives, and I'll tell you right now, everybody in this room, you've got greatness inside you. Every person in this room has got greatness inside you. I believe that with all my heart. So what we've got to understand, guys, it's going to just take us doing something, if you will. We got to make a decision. I believe it's a head decision and a heart decision that we're going to make a change in our life. I mean, we can't just play with this or it won't work, guys. Do you understand that? I don't know about you, but if I treated this like a hobby, my hobby's never paid me very well. Again, we're going to work our job full-time, but we're going to build our fortune part-time. But it has to be that part-time business, and then at some point in time, those incomes will cross, and you can make a decision if you're done or if you're going to keep doing what you're doing. Guys, we got to do it, but it needs to be a decision tonight, so I challenge you. Let's draw a line in the sand tonight, and let's make a decision that for our family, that we're going to leave a legacy that we're proud of. We're going to make a decision tonight that our future self is going to be real excited about. How about that one? Yeah. Guys, but it's going to take that decision, and then you've got to make yourself do this business for a while. Because it's not habit right now. Until it becomes a habit, it is hard as heck to do because you're not used to doing it. It's like getting your butt in the gym, huh? I mean, you get going, and all of a sudden it gets easier. But you stop, and all of a sudden, man, you don't go. I'm telling you right now, that's how this business is. You've got to get in the habit of doing stream as you go through life, so you've got to have the discipline. And we'll go back to this, though. If you got a burning desire in your butt to be somebody, then you'll make those decisions, and you'll follow through with the discipline, and you'll do what it takes to set an example and show people with your last name what they can do. We're going to stop making excuses, and we're going to start doing it. We're not going to get bitter. We're going to get better. We're going to make this happen. Guys, we'll help you. I didn't drive to Houston for just one thing, and that's to be here to talk to you guys tonight. And I don't have to do this, but I understand what's happening with this company. The thing is rocking right now. But it doesn't matter if it's rocking if you don't get your little piece of it. You've got to get out there and start building now, and you do that by showing the plan. I'll end with this. You got greatness inside you guys. Don't go to that grave and waste that greatness. I'm telling you right now. Let's pull it out. God bless.